How are you? And welcome to my kitchen again. Today we're going to talk about more immigrant ancestors, and today it's the people from Vietnam. Well, they weren't here for a long time. They didn't start coming here until about 1975, but it's a fascinating culture, and a very ancient culture, and a culture with incredible food, just wonderful cooking. They've had tragic times. The Vietnamese are in my book of tears because of what they've had to put up with. If you look at the map, you can see that Vietnam is directly south of China, and next to Vietnam is Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand on the left-hand side of the orange blotch on your screen. You see, these other cultures, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand, were much more influenced by the Hindu cultures from India, for instance, but the Vietnamese seem to be severely influenced by the Chinese. They're the ones. The Vietnamese are the ones who put their houses down on the ground instead of on stilts. The women wear pantaloons just as you do in China. They use chopsticks, something you'll never see in Thailand, Laos, or Cambodia. So the Chinese influence has been very severe. Why? Well, because the Chinese ruled the Vietnamese for 1,000 years. And don't think it wasn't a resented reign, I'll tell you. But there wasn't much they could do about it. In 1860, the French moved into Vietnam, so you had a strange combination of French influence and Chinese influence on an old culture called the Vietnamese. Out of that comes some very interesting dishes. I think it's fascinating. By 1956, the Democratic Republic had supposedly been established, and they tried very hard to do that, but you remember the great battles between the North and the South. The North was primarily communist, and the southern state was primarily democratic, that one being called the Republic of Vietnam, the northern one. And this is a history lesson for you junior high kids who don't know about this war. Anyhow, the northern company was called the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. And the Great War broke out, and we got involved in it. Now, many of us question the political wisdom of our involvement in that war between the North and the South. But none of us in America can question the commitment of our boys who went there to fight. We lost a lot of fellows, gorgeous fellows all. When everything collapsed in 1975, many Vietnamese fled the regime and came to this country. Thousands of them fled, and many came here by 1989, just this year, we have 450,000 Vietnamese living in this country. Now, not all of them came comfortably. Some came as boat people. And you know the stories. They were put in boats just to try and flee the great conflagration in Vietnam. Some of them were killed in the boats by pirates. The boats were sunk. Some of them simply died on the way, but some of them made it here. So now we have very interesting Vietnamese communities, very family-oriented too, and they eat wonderful food. They eat beautiful food. I'll show you what I mean if you'll come with me to a community in Seattle. Seattle, yes, we have lots of Vietnamese in Seattle. 10 years ago, there wasn't such a community, but now they're all over the place. Look at the signs that have come up in the last few years. Little Saigon. I'm going into a place that serves both Laotian and Cambodian food. The new Saigon market. Oh, these are all wonderful places, just wonderful places. But my favorite one is a Quoc Hong. Fabulous Vietnamese food, and talk about informal. It looks like a kind of funky French bistro with marvelous people helping, but you see the French influence. Here's a combo plate she's bringing me that has meatballs on a stick, an egg roll, and shrimp that's been cooked on sugar cane, chopped shrimp. This is the wonderful lemon beef dish. I'm going to make that for today. And then chicken and lemongrass. I think that's my favorite. Now, interesting thing you'll find on the table. They're very fond of a dish. Whoops, here it is. Here's pork cooked in soup with eggs. Now, see, in this dish, it has a little round white-looking, well, it's a pâté. They learned that from the French. I can't remember the Vietnamese name, but they love that dish, and it's very, very popular, very, very delicious. So we will begin eating, and we'll use a little round white rice paper that you soak in water. It's dried rice paper. And then you soak it in water, and it becomes very soft and tender and absolutely lovely. And that's how we'll begin the meal. You wrap it up with a little herb of some sort, some basil, put it in a little dip sauce. I'll show you how to make all of these. And then begin. Vietnamese food is simply Delicious. You can't believe it. Craig, my cooking assistant, is trying the lemongrass chicken. See what he says. All right, okay. All right, and I'm going to do the raw beef. I can't take it. I've got to cook. I just can't believe it. This food is so wonderful. This food is so delicious that there's no reason to waste any more time. So let's begin. First of all, meatballs on a stick. Easy to do at home. About 1.5 pounds of beef. I've placed this in my mixer, you see, because I want to whip this up. I want to put 1 egg white in here. 1 egg white and 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef. Oh, I just hate to use this egg method, but that's all right. Don't waste anything. I'll save this later. I normally don't waste much. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm using light soy. 1, 2. And then we're going to add some Nước. Oh, we've got to talk. We've got to talk. Nước is a fascinating fluid that is made from anchovies, dried anchovies. And let me show you a brand. This one happens to be made in Thailand, but it's wonderful stuff. Dried anchovies and salt, and they let it kind of ferment for a while and then strain it out so it's a clear broth, very much like soy sauce. And it's used for wonderful flavoring. So I want a couple tablespoons of Nước. There we are. That'll really, really dress this dish up. I want a little bit of salt and some white pepper. And the white pepper is a wonderful thing. White pepper is common in the Orient. Obviously, this trick was common in China too. So be careful with the salt now because you have soy sauce and Nước already. And the Nước is very salty. Nước, the Thais call it Nam Pla. Hope I'm getting the right cultures. Otherwise, look for fish sauce. But look for a very light brand, that light in color, so it won't be quite so strong for you. And it's wonderful, wonderful stuff. Some sesame oil. Now, this is my version. A little shot of sesame oil, just a tablespoon at the most. A little bit of garlic. Now, garlic, of course, goes way, way back in this culture. Where's the garlic, guys? Anybody know where the garlic is? Okay, thank you. Craig's sitting here pointing at me. You know that old game. We get so many things right. It's a very complicated culture and a lot of interesting things to eat, so I don't want to forget anything. I keep my garlic press, my old Susie, in some water, you see, so that it doesn't dry out. Otherwise, you can't use it all day. You have to stop and wash it all the time. And I don't want to stop and wash anything, for heaven's sakes. I want to keep cooking. All right, then I want some sherry, just a shot of good dry sherry. Good dry, never cooking sherry. You remember that? Cooking sherry has more salt in it. We don't want to do that. Just a shot, tablespoon or so. And finally, a bit of liquid smoke. Now, the only reason I'm doing this is because we're going to put this in an oven rather than on a charcoal broiler as they would. This is Wright's liquid smoke. It's very easy to find. Just a smidgen. Oh, you want less than a half teaspoon. That would be plenty. And finally, a bit of sugar, just a pinch. Sweetness. Well, that's Chinese too, I think. No, it's French. I think that's the French influence. The sweetness that would be common in the meats would be the French influence. And find a little bit of cornstarch. In the old days, they used lotus root. That's what I want to say. Lotus root starch. Now, why am I putting this in? Just about 2 tablespoons. Why am I putting this in a mixer? Because I want the meat to break down so that it becomes something very smooth. And this will give us if you have a good mix master, this is not a mix master, of course it's a good KitchenAid. This is my baby. Turn it on, slow at first, and then just whip the blazes out of this stuff. There you are. And it'll break down the meat fibers and blend the fat with the oil that I've put in, the sesame oil, that sort of thing. That's long enough, I think. It's a very simple recipe, really, but oh, is it good. Just terrific. Now, when you cook this is what you do. It's kind of fun to play with. Craig, do you want to get rid of that machine for me? We'll have some room to operate here, and I'll get a plate, and we can really go at it. You mold little bitty meatballs, about so big, you see? They're just tiny little things, and then you put them on a skewer. And you put about 6 of these on a skewer. Now, you have to sit them in your hand and put the meatballs on thusly, otherwise they're going to fall off because the meat is very tender. You see, just leave them in your hand. See what I'm doing? Pile them up, maybe 6 on a stick, and then broil them. Broil them until, well, as they say on a menu in one of those funky restaurants, to perfection. whatever that means. Broil them until they're just right for you. I have some ready for us. They're just delicious things. Ouch, 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 ouch. Don't ever, if you're a young person, think now what I'm saying. Don't ever remove something from the oven unless you know where you're going to set it down. That's very dangerous. Here they are. Here they are. Aren't they gorgeous? Wonderful little things. And if you cook these over a barbecue out in the backyard, they're even better. Just better. There. Let me get rid of my pan. All right, one dish down, and we're just getting started on Vietnamese cuisine. Immigrants who belong to us now are an incredibly important part of the American culture. And 15 years ago, most of us didn't even know who they were. Isn't that strange? That's what occurs in a culture that is open to immigrant population. We're always learning something new. I think that's just exciting. All right, the next one. This is a quickie. I'm going to show you the rice noodles. Now, there are two basic sizes that we're going to use today. This is the little one that you would have on a normal dinner plate. You see? They're not so big. But look at this great big one. Let me show you how to prepare these. This will take a minute to soak, so I want to get one out here. Oh, that one's broken. The top ones sometimes are in bad shape on these. You have to be careful. Let me find one that looks fairly decent. There we go. Let's pull them out of the rack here, and we're going to spray it with water. There, can you see that? Yes. Well, barely on the towel. But we're going to spray it with water, and you know what I use? You can just rinse these off, but I'm going to spray it with a clothes sprayer. There, one side, then turn it over, just water. Turn it over and spray it on the other side, and then let it sit on the towel for a minute. And in just a moment, it'll be perfect. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to turn up a dish. I have a dish here that's partially cooking that will kill you. It is so good. Lemon chicken. This dish, I think, is a classic from the Vietnamese cuisine. Lemongrass is very interesting stuff. These are typical vegetables and herbs and spices from Vietnam, but this lemongrass looks like a green onion, doesn't it? But it's not. Lemongrass has a sharp, lemony flavor, and you peel off the outside coating and then chop this up and put it in the food along with some red peppers and a little lime juice, and you're eating Vietnamese. No, don't kid yourself. In the old country, of course, they couldn't eat that well. But here, all of the old recipes were brought along, and we provide well. So now you have some very wonderful things in America. Wonderful. All right, here we go. Next one is a cold shrimp roll that we're going to make of this big sauce. See how soft it is now? I've got to hurry. I have some cooked shrimp. You can hardly see that. I shouldn't have put it on a white towel. Well, the things we learn every day. A little bit of cooked shrimp. Cook that in garlic and some wonderful garlic and a little bit of ginger. And oil, of course. Now, let's try some mint leaf. You'd put this in. This is typical of the kind of dish, and you'd buy one of these all ready for you. And maybe some basil, a little basil or two. I think that's enough. And I'm going to splash that. Oh, you might want to put a little lettuce in. Let's do that too. The lettuce is a nice strip. You see what I've done? Tear that off to leave the core. And just lay that right in the center. Now we'll splash that with a bit of dip sauce that I'll tell you about later. I'll make that for you in a minute. And roll this up, and it becomes a major dish for the table. It's just lovely stuff. You have to be very careful with it because it's very fragile and very beautiful. Now, I'll put this on a plate, and at last you'll be able to see it. This is bizarre. No little Chinese plates. We'll try one of these. There. Here you are. Here's just one. Let me put that other bit of lettuce on it just for kicks. Did you notice I'm not using parsley for garnish today? Somebody wrote me a letter and said, "Good Lord, Smith, can't you find anything else other than parsley for garnish?" This is great now. It's out. Look at the plate that it's sitting next to. This plate was made in China. Why does it have a French pattern on it? Good question. Well, it was obviously made for export to this country, but of course this sort of thing becomes very popular in Vietnam because of the French influence. I've already told you that. You understand what I'm saying? French and Chinese influence in Vietnam has been very severe and very wonderful Very wonderful as far as I'm concerned. Of course, I'm an eater. I'm not a politician. Let me show you how to make the dip sauce. This is very, very simple. I'm just going to use a measuring cup. For a dip sauce, I want about, I won't have enough room. I'm going to get a big one. Here we go. I want about a cup of water because Nước, this fermented anchovy and salt mess that I told you about is very, very strong. So I'm going to measure this carefully. I want about a half a cup of Nước. You so rarely see me measure anything, you must wonder what's going on today. There's half a cup of Nước, fine. And I want a couple tablespoons of white vinegar. A regular white vinegar will be fine. You can use rice wine if you like. A couple tablespoons, there we go. Oh, let me check my chicken, see what's happening here. Wow, it's doing beautifully. It'll be ready in just a minute. This is just terrible. This is one that I really want you to taste, and it's not going to happen. Not today. You're going to have to run and get some lemongrass. No, there's no substitute. Don't even consider using lemon peel or something like that. Lemongrass has a different flavor. You'll find it in most Oriental markets. Now, because there's so many Vietnamese in our culture, remember I said almost 500,000. They're all over the country. So you'll find a market that'll have lemongrass for you. Cambodians enjoy it, the Thai enjoy it, and the Vietnamese enjoy it. Our immigrant ancestors. All right, back to this one. I have some Nước, the vinegar. I'm going to put in a couple of teaspoons of sugar. A couple of teaspoons just to sweeten it up a bit. And some carrots and daikon. Let me show you how to do the daikon. This is fun. Here's the carrot and the daikon. See how they've been shredded? What's a daikon? I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of each. I'll tell you what a daikon is. It's a big radish from the Orient. Very common you can find them in any Chinatown. And I'm going to run mine through a mandolin, you see? So that they come out into long, skinny strings. Isn't that gorgeous stuff? Easy to use one of these. I couldn't cook without mine. Now, again, this is a French gadget, originally. So, a little more French influence there. Okay, how are we doing now? I need some garlic. And just, a clove. We don't want it too strong. And then, not necessarily common for the Vietnamese to put a lot of garlic in their dip sauce, but I just love it this way. Okay. Now, what is this dip sauce for? Well, I'll show you in a minute. I'm glad you asked. And a little bit of lime juice. Don't you dare buy something that comes in some other form other than a fresh lime. That's not fair. We want it this way. Little lime, the juice of half a lime. And if you like it hot, if you like this sauce hot, then go ahead and add some chili oil. I'm not going to, but get just some red oil, you see? Or you can make your own from peppers and oil. This is a prepared chili oil that I found in Chinatown. It's really very good. Stir that up. Let me taste it, and I'll see what's going to happen. Boy, everything's boiling away. We're doing fine here. Let's see what we have. This is a dip sauce for... Wow, is that good? No, the anchovy sauce, or the fish sauce, does not give it a fishy flavor. It's a very strange experience. It's more of a salty, proteiny. It's yummy. I don't know how to describe it. Anyhow, we'll put some out. And I'll show you what to use this for. As a dip sauce, you see? There it is. Now, what do we dip in it? Well, we're going to dip in it some wonderful spring roll. These are not made of an egg roll skin, but rather of a wheat skin. Wonderful from Vietnam. I filled them with a bit of shrimp. See the shrimp in here? Little shrimp and some siphon noodles, a little pork, and then some vegetables, a little carrot, and to cook all of that for just a moment, and then roll them up and deep fry them in a wheat noodle, not in the rice skin. That won't work for you. All right, what's next? Isn't this fun? If you can find a Vietnamese restaurant in your neighborhood, you'll be a very happy person. Let's finish off the chicken and lemongrass. I have chicken cooking with lemongrass, green onion, salt, and pepper. And then I've chowed it with a little bit of oil and some red chilies, a little bit of sugar, and some black pepper. So I'm done. Now I need to finish it off with a half a cup. Oh, calm down in there. You're all right. Half a cup of peanuts. Isn't that great? And now the Nước, because we don't want to cook it. We don't want to cook the Nước too long, We just want to splash in a couple of tablespoons now, 1, 2, at the last minute, and toss that about, and it's ready to serve. This is an absolute classic in the Vietnamese household. This is funny. The minute that the Nước mắm, the fish sauce, hit the wok, the flavor completely changed. Just, how do I describe that to you? Oh, stop wincing like that. It is not at all what you think. It's not at all like anchovy paste. Please don't confuse it. It's wonderful stuff. I've only gotten onto this in the last couple of years, and now I can. I have 6 different brands in the kitchen, but the brand that I showed you from Thailand, I think is just one of the best. There we go. There. See, I've just whacked the chicken up into small serving pieces so that it will be easy to handle. Remember, now the Vietnamese eat with chopsticks, not with forks as the Thai would do. So let me get that out. I'm going to garnish that. Come here, get off the edge there. Terrible. Try and make the plate look at least fairly presentable. I'm going to garnish that with some Chinese coriander, Chinese parsley, or chopped coriander. That's common in Vietnam as well. Somebody just yelled, oh, there he goes with his parsley. No, this is Chinese parsley. You cool off, for goodness sakes. All right. Now, here's one. Here's one that you won't believe. Raw beef is marinated. This is just a classic. It's marinated with oyster sauce and fresh lime, a little yellow onion, some hot pepper, and some fried onion flakes. You know what those are? Fried onion flakes are made thusly. You buy the dry onion flakes, you see, and then you fry them in a little bit of oil till they're nice and brown. Now, to finish this dish, we've marinated it first. To finish it, we add some more on top. This is a classic. Add some more on top, and then we want to add, we're just trying to finish it off for service, you understand. I shouldn't use the word service. Before you serve it, we want to finish with this. We want to add some chopped green onions on top of the dried, fried onion, and some more flakes, and we want to put those on a little more coriander, and then a lime wedge or two. And you have a dish that will just bring them down at the farm. There we go. There we are. And what am I missing? Oh, the lime wedge. Here we go. And you squeeze the lime onto this wonderful dish and then eat it in the midst of one of the soft rice cakes. You saw me make one now, and you use the smaller ones for this dish. There we go. Now, I think I have one more dish for you, and I don't even know if I have time to get it out. It's a beef soup, but I'll just sort of prepare it here on the top of the stove. Into the beef soup, you want to put some coriander, fresh coriander, and some allspice. Isn't that interesting? This is just good beef stock, really good beef stock. Some coriander and a shot of allspice, perhaps a pinch of sugar. Craig, will you dish this up for me, please? A little bit of allspice, pinch of sugar. Where'd the sugar go? Here it is. You better test that for salt. I think it needs some. Okay, there you go. And, of course, the beef. Here's some beef that we'll throw in here and stir that up. There we go. Craig cleverly taught me just now that I'd forgotten the beef.
Well, it's going to be nice and rare now.
Yeah, we have 20 seconds. It's going to be rare, all right, hotshot. All right, onions, the beef, and finally, we're going to add a little bit of siphon. And you have a dish that is just a classic. See if you can dish that up before we close. And I'll do that. I'll do the close. I think that, for me, these are some of the favorite dishes of Vietnamese cuisine. You have to understand now that the French came later in their history, not until about 1860. Prior to that time, severe Chinese influence. But remember, at the base, there was a very dignified, artistic, and I think terribly gracious culture of Vietnam. They weren't always given credit for that because they looked so Chinese to some of us in the West, and of course the French claimed it was a colony, all that sort of rot. But the truth of the matter is that at base, through these thousands of years, there was a wonderful culture, and the food they produced is simply murder. I have a rare beef salad, lemon extract it's called, it's really lime juice, and meatballs on a stick that are easy to make in your oven, chicken with lemongrass that will just bring them off the farm, a cold rice noodle stuffed with shrimp, deep-fried egg roll noodles stuffed with shrimp and pork, and finally, a classic messily, a classic beef soup. All of these dishes are common to our immigrant ancestors from Vietnam. Now, go find a restaurant. There'll be one in your community, perhaps in some Chinatown or something, and please be patient, because some of these dishes look a bit strange. And you'll get a rice paper, and I should do this now. I wanted to have one ready. They hide this all moist for you and ready to go. And you roll this up with some herbs and spices and enjoy yourself, because it's an unusual way to eat from our immigrant ancestors in Vietnam. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Until I see you again, I bid you peace. Bye-bye.